right, everybody, this is our junior black belt takedown / throw requirement. We're still doing drop seoi-nage. We want you to know how to do that basic throw from over-under position to the side mount. And once you get that down, we're going to add on arm bar, okay? And throughout this block, you've seen arm bars, you've seen escapes, so you need to kind of be able to do the arm bar from some different situations, not just back mount, your takedowns. A lot of our takedowns and throws, there's an arm bar there, okay? So we want to find our balance on our buddy. We don't want him pushing us and pulling us off balance, okay? And then we're going to throw our uppercut punch as we turn around. I'm looking towards you right now, but I'm going to look towards that wall over behind me, over this way, when I go in for the throw. So I do my uppercut here, and then I pull him up at the end. That's going to be what makes the armbar really come together, right? Now, I don't like to armbar and just be over here because it's real easy for George. Yeah, just do that runaway escape, George. Real easy for him to do that. He's got me in a bad spot now. I'm just barely holding on. So, when I do that armbar, watch what we're going to do. We're going to kind of need to use our hands and base and not get in a hurry. If you get in a hurry, they'll escape. Don't get too excited, and you'll get the tap. Okay, so here, uppercut, pull him up, put your hand on the mat. Swing over. Sometimes you'll fall this way, and you can still tap him. That's fine. Okay, what I want to do is stay close to his hip. This is a neat armbar because we have one shin in his armpit and one over his face, and we pull down. Okay? So again, when you finish the seoi-nage, the shoulder throw, you're going to put this hand here, pull him up, and don't do this. That gives him the opportunity to get away. Your hand's over here because it's doing a job. It's grabbing his hip and knee and pulling it. So we're just sitting right beside each other here. And I get my arm bar. So let's see that one time from the beginning. Here. Fall back. Okay? Now, if you see your buddy not doing it correctly, you can work some of the escapes that we've done from this cycle. Now, so that's just an add-on. An add-on to your seoi-nage if you are a junior black belt in the buff. So George, put me in sitting back mount, please. One mistake that sometimes we make is we cross our feet when we have the back. Even the adults that have colored belts, and it's pretty hard for them to earn a colored belt. The first colored belt takes almost 2 years usually. And they still do it, all right? So here's, and then we see, oh, he has this. Ankle lock, right? So I don't want to do the wrong foot. So how do we know what's the right foot? Well, this is the right foot, but how do we know? Well, sometimes if you do this foot, it like pulls his feet open instead of keeps them together, okay? So see how his feet are crossed like this? Well, I want to cross them again. So if I put my foot right here, right, I can finish the ankle lock. Now, this might surprise your buddy. So if you're doing it when you're rolling, be careful. We don't want to hurt anybody's ankle, okay? This is one that a lot of times really surprises people. So that's why we're waiting to teach it to you, okay? So here, we want to put that there, okay? And what if we're on our side? It still works, right? Here, works really good on your side. You throw it over. Sometimes you can triangle your legs. Sometimes you don't have to. And you just move your hips in a forward snaky move. And he's got the pressure on his ankle, and he taps to the ankle lock. Okay? So cross your feet, George. Okay, yeah. So I want his feet to stay crossed. If I put this foot, it might pull this foot down when I start trying to finish it. So I'm going to put this foot. If you switches his feet, go ahead and switch how your feet are crossed. Put this foot. Okay? So that's the special detail there. All right? Now, we've really gone over a lot of rear naked choke this cycle. We're going to want you to know, I'm going to take George's back, a variation of that. So you need to know all the beginner, intermediate, and advanced techniques. Arm bars and rear naked chokes should be really something that you have figured out. So then you start adding on. Okay, now, this happens sometimes. We mentioned the intermediates that they'll pull this hand down. Even if it's back here, sometimes he like gets up and grabs your hand and starts pulling it down. I'm gonna go palm to palm when that happens. That's a grip. Just like when we have seatbelt, right? We call this the clap or the gable grip a lot of times here, right? But if this is not working or I didn't have it in or whatever, he pulls it down. I want to get my hands together, okay? So if this is happening, pull it back in. You might not get it up here if he's got the arm, but you can collapse it, okay? If he pulls it off your head, come there. Now, it's not enough just to have it back here. What we want to do is we want to push it in against his back, and I'm pushing him forward with my elbow to get the choke, okay? Always going to be better if we fall on our side and kind of add some hips into it, and then choke all at once, okay? So George is pulling that down, palm to palm, fall on your side, and you get the tap, all right? Now, another variation that our black belts, junior black belts are adding on. Let's remember our full mount drill, okay? We want to be able to move from full mount to the back. There are different ways to do that. You know, Mr. Brian, Ms. Cora, Mr. George, we know a lot of ways to do that. The basic way we want you to do is kind of have somebody and turn on their side to escape mount and kind of invite them to keep going. So there's a little drill where he'll just roll like a log. Roll on your 360, George. Okay, good. Roll back. So our advanced students, we were talking about catching them rear mount and choking. Sometimes in reality, when you start doing this, people will turtle and you will fall off the front. It's terrible. Then you're on bottom. I don't want that to happen to you or me, either one, or Mr. George or Thomas here running the camera. We don't want any of that to happen to anybody. So as he turns over, you're kind of coming down here and he turtles. What we're going to do is a move we call prayer feet. These are prayer hands. My feet are doing the same thing. Now I can't be all up here. I'll fall off the front. Also, can't keep my hooks in or he'll kick a leg back. Yeah. If I have prayer feet and I put one underhook in, or I have my seatbelt, either one. Try and get out, George. Yeah. All right, now I'm going to use my prayer feet and I'm going to do a froggy stretch. That's where my knees go out this way. Not feet back, feet stay in the center, knees go out. And you got to do this kind of slow with your buddy because it's not going to feel good when you get him down, okay? Now once you get him down, it's just like when we're doing our rear naked choke. And if George kind of grabs the hand, I'm not going to be greedy. I'm going to maybe pull my other hand out and go in. We really want you guys to have discipline in how you work on your rear naked choke, because what will happen to everybody that does grappling and jiu-jitsu is, man, I'm so excited to choke George here in a second. I'm close. I have him in the mount. And that can kind of mess up your submission. So don't get overexcited. If you go for the choke and it's not there, try and go for it with your other arm. It's a very basic idea, okay? So George kind of turns over. I'm being light on my knees. I'm letting him do that. I set both hooks in turtle, right? And I've got my prayer feet, my underhook. I'm going to look up and push my hips down, and my knees go out, okay? George is letting me be nice. He'll let me drill my move, okay? Now don't let me get you to that one, George. Don't let me get you at that thing. But I got him with that one. So I have to develop what we call sensitivity to know when I don't have the choke. And then when I don't have the choke, it's just as simple and easy as not going in with that arm and trying to go in with the other. And trying to go in with the other until you feel. You're going to really figure out if you're this far in the curriculum like, oh, I'm under the chin. I'm really under the chin. I remember how that feels when I've got the taps in the past. So you'll know when you feel that. Don't get in a rush. Don't get overexcited. If it's not there and they're grabbing your arm, go in with the other. Go in with the other. And that is how you can increase your choke percentage. All right? So that's everything we want to be adding on. If you're a junior black belt, you're adding all of that on to your beginner, intermediate, and advanced techniques you've already been doing with us for several years. Okay? All right, students, we're going to be going over our junior black belt requirements. Okay, so we've done our review techniques, things that you're adding on to the drills and techniques that you learned through the beginner and intermediate and advanced ranks. And these are going to be some newer techniques that are really just going to add right on as well, but are a little different, okay? So let's go over a basic way to escape that's a little different than some of the ones that we've seen. We've seen escaping and coming up on top and passing George's guard, or coming up on top and putting him in side mount or full mount, right? So this is going to be a similar escape, a trap, I trap. I don't want to fall on my side. I want to fall with my head on the floor over here and my hips up, okay? So not one hip up, both hips will be facing the ceiling, right? So here, like this. Now, I want to break his seatbelt, okay? Now, we're going to show a way that we can make this work, right? But right now, it's going to be very difficult for George to pull his leg out and to pull his arm out because I'm laying on it, right? Right here. I'm laying on it. Even though he crossed his feet, I'm laying on it. Now, it's okay to cross our feet on the side. We don't want to cross our feet in the middle, as we already saw earlier, okay? So when I'm here, what will happen is if I can get this good where I'm laying on his leg, it's under my back, I'm laying on his arm, it's under my back. If George starts trying to mount me right here, what I'm going to do, keep coming up, George, is I'm going to get my guard back. And I've got him pulled down. That way, he can't just start passing. Okay, so we saw, an escape where we came up and got in the guard. This one, is stop. He's trying to mount us. Okay, and we'll show that here in a second, how to do that technique. Okay, so we're going to fall on our back. Boom. Even though he's here, if I can break this seat belt, start escaping, he's coming up. I'm hip escaping out. I'm pulling him down. Here, maybe I could do a Kimura or an arm lock, maybe a guillotine, right? Or maybe you just had him down like this in an over-under hook. We just want to be sure we get our guard, and we never want to let somebody be like this in our guard. We want to pull him down and keep him down so we can start doing some of our favorite submissions we've learned from that position as we've gone through the ranks, okay? So let's go over this. Last couple of techniques here. Seatbelt. We mentioned when we were first showing you this technique that you don't want to fall on your side. You want to fall on your back. You want your head on the floor. You want to be laying on their leg and their arm. Sometimes people don't do that. And it's kind of easy to come up to mount if they don't do that. Because you can just pull your arm and leg out. They're not laying on it. So the mistake is people fall on their side. Don't fall on your side, but we're going to do it for this drill. But don't do it in real life, okay? But know when someone does it, they are not going to get out. I can go to mount, right? So George, just trap, he's doing everything fine, but he falls on his side, and he doesn't get everything, he's got a little bit of weight, but it's not enough, okay? So I'm crossing my feet. I'm going to grab his head, and I pull my arm out. So you see where he kind of had that? I reached across, I grabbed his head, and I pulled it a little bit. And that's going to allow me to get here. Now, this seems like one of those things like, why do I have to do that? I bet it'll work if I don't. It might. But if you will look at the ceiling when you're doing this move, it will work way better. It makes the pressure more. Okay? So, George, here's kind of without looking at the ceiling. Okay? And you see, George might make a mistake and turn down his belly when that happens, right? And I'll just have to choke. I've seen black belts make that mistake, okay? Now, George, I'm going to do this, and maybe it's not as bad, but you tell me. Okay, I'm going to look up this time. A little more pressure?
Oh, yeah, my back pop.
Yeah, a little chiropractor visit. Free, right? Actually, it's $30. Okay, so, George, he makes a mistake. He does some right things. He grabs my arms, but he falls on his side. So there's not enough weight on my legs. Grab his head, cross your feet. look up. Oh, some lights up there, we just replaced them. Yeah, they're looking good. And then hoist yourself up to the mount. And remember all the drills you've learned, because when you start mounting people, sometimes they make mistakes and they turn the wrong way. And if you're doing this and he turns, you're right there in your rear mount. Mata Leon, rear naked choke. All right? One other thing, this is just a sort of a last ditch. This occasionally, if you go for seoi-nages or doing back mount stuff, you get stuck underneath somebody. We've seen a little bit of front headlock sometimes when you fail a double. George, what you're going to do is just put me in front headlock, but just kind of grab around my body. We're not going to be worried about the grips. What I want us to be able to do is we're going to go all fours here, and just like we broke the seatbelt in the back, we're going to look up and poke our chest out. That broke his seatbelt. Then we're going to come over here, and we can do our favorite back take to our favorite submission. And then, you know, George, you've been training here for a long time. I bet George knows what his favorite armbar escape is by now, and he can do that. So what we want is for our junior black belts, you know all these positions. You know the submissions. There's only so many ways to do an armbar from the back, armbar in general. So if we show you a bunch of positions you already know and a bunch of techniques you already know, and just one or two details to add them all together, you are able to do that. Just be confident, okay? So we'll show that one more time and we'll be done for today. So he's just grabbing around my body. Maybe I did a bad double leg. I'm not a good wrestler. So I'm gonna go all fours. I don't stay here. I look up at the ceiling and I sit through. That's what we call this. Now I'm gonna go over, I'm gonna set the top hook on this one. That's our intermediate. Boom, boom. All right, pulling an armbar on that side. Okay, maybe I could even do this one. All right, bonus move, okay. Breaking down into the rear mount and do my choke, okay? So we want you to be able to start taking the back from everywhere and doing all your favorite back attacks and submissions, right? That's what being a higher rank is all about, is being able to really tie things together and just think about things and, oh yeah, I could put that in that, okay. Right, so really good job, everybody. Keep watching the techniques, keep coming to class. See you later.